This is my office chair. It was free. I got this from a friend whose workplace was changing out their chairs, and clearly the upholstery was not holding up for me. It just could use a little bit of help. And so I had the great idea, well, I've learned how to crochet like 4 months ago. I could just make a chair cover, right? Easy. Easy peasy. And so I will show you how I fixed this office chair with crochet. I measured the chair just so that I had in my head the kind of proportions that I needed, and it turned out that there was 1 inch more diagonally across the chair than there is from front to back. And so I collected some sad beige yarn. Don't worry, I changed my mind later, and began testing some things out. I started at first making a chain with the intention of doing some moss stitches around that chain. Moss stitch is really easy because when you need to turn the corners, you just add an extra chain in between. To explain moss stitch, it's 1 single crochet and 1 chain. So I've worked up 2 rows after this chain, and I like how it's looking, except I am messing something up here where I join the round and move to another row. They're all even, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with those 2 chains in the corners. And I know that's going to look nice. I just need to figure out what I'm doing. I don't know if with this rectangle shape, if I'll be able to do it in any way to avoid having holes show through. I could even cut a small 1 inch by 2 inch rectangle of fabric and have that in the middle, and then crochet around the fabric. I don't really have any fabric that I would use for that, so I'm going to try doing crochet, but I do really like the moss stitch. I think that's going to look really nice for this. So I decided to try doing it as a magic circle. I also made sure that I put the spot that I would need to join right here instead of over in the corner, because it would get very confusing. Anyway, I think that turned out a lot better, and I decided I have this very soft, it is purple. I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but it's like very, very soft lilac. I think actually it's called Orchid. And this yarn is from probably 1982. And then this random ball of yarn that I have no idea what it is. It definitely feels acrylic, red heart, something. Maybe those two would be good together. And I didn't initially go for this one just because it's a little bit darker and more saturated than what I usually run to for like decorating. This will soften it out a lot. There should be enough here, especially if I'm switching between these 2 colors. All right, there it is, and it's making the shape that I want, and with the color change I can see where I've been putting my slip stitch right here. You can see it a little bit right there. You can tell that that's where I slip stitched, but I don't personally mind it. I think it's okay. I should probably turn my work because the rectangle will start looking a little bit wonky if I don't. But I'll turn it and do a few rows and then turn it back over again. Also, with the color change, I am just leaving my threads connected to my work and then picking it up back up here, so I don't have to cut. I don't have to weave in the ends except for right here where I added right at the beginning. Overall, I think it's looking really good. Here's how far I've gotten. It's making the shape that I wanted. Colors look great. I'm going to continue it until I have the full size for the chair cushion. It has been a little while since I last recorded on this project. I'm going to make a lot of changes. First of all, I think I must have been increasing somehow for this first little bit. I thought it would be okay. I thought, you know, when it kind of stretches on the chair, it would be fine. It's not fine. I need to redo this. I think I was adding stitches here, making that color change and switching between rows. But another thing that I'm not super happy about with, I guess I could call it a prototype since I'm going to redo it. I don't like how I did the pattern from here, and I really like how I started doing it here. A lot cooler to have 2 rows of that orchid color and then 1 row variegated multicolor stuff. Let's do some frogging. I have to say I am really glad that I did not cut the yarn for every row. I just carried the yarn up with each color change, and that is really saving me right now. Honestly, I probably would have just scrapped the whole project and said, find a different way to use this random square. So glad when I think ahead. This is looking really good. I've worked almost all the way. I have about 15 more rows to go to make sure that it covers the entire top somewhat flat part of the chair. I really like how the pattern has worked out, and I have been doing 2 rows of right side. So I'll do the multicolor yarn right side, and then I'll switch and do the light colored yarn right side, and then I flip it and do 1 row wrong side. So right side, wrong side, right side, wrong side, if that makes any sense. And that has helped it to finally be flat. I do need to block it. There's a little bit of bunching up at this first part because I did not turn my work in this beginning rectangle, so it kind of made a little bit of a wonky shape there, but I really don't think it will be a problem once I get it blocked and once my butt is sitting on this every day. My color changes are definitely not perfect, but that will be towards the back of the chair, so you won't really see it. And so I will work this out to the point that it covers the whole top. At that point, it will look like this. It's covering all the top, and I'm at the part where I can start to go over. So I will add 3 rows of double crochet. Isn't that going to be so nice? I think it's going to be so nice. All right, I've added on 4 rows of double crochet here to the edges. You can see somehow I've got a lot of rippling in it. I have no idea how that happened. This yarn feels really stretchy to me. I think it really messes with my tension when I get a really stretchy yarn. So my plan is to do 1 last row that is double crochet, chain, double crochet all the way across, so it will make holes that I can weave through either a ribbon, or very likely I will just chain the yarn. My hope is that once I add in that ribbon to the bottom and I kind of cinch it in, that everything will be flat. If it goes very poorly, I can just add on another row, right? I've got this final row, 1 double crochet, 2 chains, 1 double crochet, and then so I skipped 2 double crochet, if that makes any sense. You can look at it and figure it out. This project has been really cool for me to do because I only started crocheting 4 months ago, like exactly 4 months ago. And I did not expect how much I would love crochet. I thought that it was this thing that just really involved a whole lot of counting and seemed kind of boring, but it's so meditative for me. It's just something really fun that I can be creative while also being able to make something very practical or useful, as well as things that are very pretty. And I haven't even touched the surface of everything that you can do with crochet, but doing this project where I just had an idea in my head and I decided to go for it, is really cool. I always love learning a new craft and then getting to the point that it's something that I can just truly use creatively, where I don't really have to follow what anybody else has done before, make it my own. And I recently did another project. It was a cardigan. For that one I did follow a pattern, but I could not find the right yarn weight. It wanted DK weight. Within my price range, I could only find worsted weight. So I just figured out how many stitches weight 4 yarn needed compared to the weight 3, and then did my own measurements and everything. It turned out pretty much perfect. I was really happy with that project, and so I feel like I'm finally hitting a sort of fun stride with crochet that I really didn't expect when I picked up a crochet hook. Had no idea how cool this craft is, and I am really looking forward to potentially diving into vintage crochet patterns. I just got some yarn that the color palette is very reminiscent to me of the 70s, and so I've been searching crochet books and patterns from the 1970s and trying to find something that I think would be perfect for this yarn. I love historic crafts, learning about handicrafts, seeing what people have done in the past. I'm very interested in sustainability, and I would love to learn through an historic lens how people throughout history have used their resources. I think an easy one that comes to mind is how people were able to continue crafting and making through the Great Depression and through food and materials rationing. So that would be something really interesting that I'm wanting to dive into and potentially research. That could be really great to inform my own sustainability practices. So I've made a pretty long chain. I don't want to risk not having enough, so I put a chain marker here. So let's find the center back, weave it through, going over and under those double crochets. Big brain moment. What if I connect stitch marker to this stitch, and that way I don't have to worry about pulling the chain through too far. Sometimes I have good ideas. Definitely did enough chain, so I have this much left over. Let's see if it worked. The moment of truth. So I really need somehow to make sure that it can be pulled. There's definitely enough stretch for it to pull on both sides, snug around the bottom, but there's not enough force to pull it down like that. I'm gonna keep trying to make it as tight as I possibly can. And so the front looks great, but as I come around the sides, we have some issues, and the back we have some issues. I can basically block over the shape of the chair. Excuse me, sir. Can you pause for a second? Thank you. I tightened it even a little bit more. Excuse you, you rascal. Do you like my chair? Here it is, the final product. It looks so great. I am so happy that this worked out and that the thing that I had in my mind was able to come to life like this. There really is nothing better as a creative than having an idea in your head and making it happen and seeing it all work out, even through some moments of self-doubt and wondering if it would ever even work out. I have to say, this chair just looks so much nicer now, so much more fun and much more of my personality rather than just the random red. So I'm very, very pleased with how this turned out, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this project. Again, I'm new to crochet. I really don't know what I'm doing. I mean, it's kind of working. I have so many ideas for projects that I want to do in the future, not only of crochet, but of all kinds of needlework and handicraft. And I also have been dabbling into exploring different historical crafts. I would really love to share those with you. So if you would like to see those, please subscribe to my channel. channel. Until next time, really hope that all of your projects go well. Happy crafting!